I remember the day it started. I wasn't supposed to be in that town. Not for that long. Not for that reason. But life has a way of pushing you into the rooms you swore you'd never enter. My name's Eli Rowan, and the summer I turned 20, I ended up in Hartwell, Indiana. A quiet Midwestern town that looked like it fell asleep sometime in 1986 and never woke up. My mom had begged me to go live with her older brother for a few months. "Just help him around the place," she'd said. "He's not well, Eli. He needs someone." I thought she meant emotionally. She didn't. My uncle Raymond Rowan ran the only funeral home in Hartwell, Rowan and Sons Mortuary, though there hadn't been a son running the place since before I was born. The building looked older than the funeral photos hanging inside it, brick chipped away, gutters sagging. The front steps slanted like they were tired of holding dead weight. When I stepped inside the first time, the air tasted like metal and disinfectant. My boots echoed, and I swear something echoed back, a weird low hum like an engine running underwater. Uncle Ray was standing in the prep room doorway, wiping his hands on a faded blue towel. "You must be Eli," he said. His voice was rough, cigarette gravelly despite him never smoking. "You look taller than last time." Last time I was 4. He walked toward me, but his eyes darted behind me, to the hallway, to the vents, to nothing. He wasn't jumpy. He was careful, like someone who'd spent years listening for sounds other people couldn't hear. "Your mom said you might stay a while," he added. "If you want. Work's simple. Place is quiet." Quiet. I didn't know then how much of a lie that word was. Rules of the house. My second night there, Ray handed me a laminated sheet he kept tucked under the coffee maker like some restaurant health code guideline. Except these weren't health rules. These were survival rules. He slid the sheet toward me. I read it. 1. Never open the basement cold vault alone. 2. Never answer the back door after midnight. 3. Knock twice before entering any prep room. 4. If you hear knocking from inside a casket, leave the building. 5. Never approach Vault C, third occupant. 6. Do not acknowledge breathing you didn't cause. I stared at him, waiting for him to say, "Just kidding." He didn't. "Is this a joke?" I asked. "Would be funnier if it was," he muttered. I laughed nervously. "Come on, man. Knocking from inside a casket?" He leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Eli, you listen to me good. Don't treat this house like a joke. You follow these rules, you stay safe, you ignore one, even on accident." He paused, jaw tightening. "Things notice. Things." I didn't ask him what that meant. Not yet. The realistic start of the bad part. I wasn't scared those first few days, just weirded out. The funeral home creaked like an old ship, vents rattling, wood settling, compressors humming. But on my 5th night, something crossed the line from old building noises to "I'm not alone here." Ray had been called out for a removal at a hospital. "Won't be long," he said, pulling his jacket on. "Just paperwork and a pickup." Before leaving, he gripped my shoulder. "Eli, don't go downstairs, not tonight. Something's active." "Active? What is this, paranormal monopoly?" He didn't smile. "Promise," he said. I nodded. "Yeah, I got it." When he left, the mortuary felt bigger and emptier than it ever had. I tried keeping busy, sweeping the front hall, rearranging flower stands, pretending to understand half the paperwork on Ray's desk. Around 1:12 a.m., I heard it, a sharp single knock. I froze. It sounded like wood on metal. I walked to the front door. Nothing. Then, another knock, but this time, behind me, down the hallway, toward the basement, toward the cold vault. "Old pipes," I whispered to myself. Then I heard it again. 3 knocks. Slow, deliberate, no pipe knocks like that. My stomach dropped. I said out loud to the empty air, "Ray, what the hell kind of place is this?" The knocking stopped. The silence that followed felt heavier than noise. I should have walked out the front door. I should have waited outside for Ray. But curiosity is a stupid, hungry thing. And I was hungry. The cold vault. The basement staircase creaked like each step was bending under a weight I couldn't see. I held the banister so tight my knuckles cracked. At the bottom, the cold vault door stood in the corner, a thick steel door with a rotating handle and a tiny window fogged over from the inside. I saw shadows shift through that fog. Not shapes, just movement, like breath swirling the frost. My skin prickled, and then tap, 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 soft, barely there, but close, right on the other side. My brain said, walk away. Don't even breathe here. My curiosity said, just make sure nothing is wrong, that's all. I turned the vault light on. Its yellow bulbs flickered like they were scared, too. The vault had 3 chambers, A, B, and C. Chamber C was the deepest one, and according to Ray's rules, third occupant, never approach it. I walked forward anyway. Inside the vault were 3 steel caskets, each on sliding rails. Tags hung on the first 2. The third one had nothing, not a name, not a date, just a long dent across the lid like something hit it from the inside. I whispered, nope, nope, man, nope. This is how white people die in movies. Then, the second casket rattled, violently. I stumbled back, banging into the shelf behind me. The rattling stopped. Silence. Then, against all logic, against all sanity, I leaned in close to the second casket. I don't know why. Curiosity again, stupidity again. I placed my ear against the steel and I heard it. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Like lungs full of dirt. That was the moment I realized something inside that casket wasn't dead, or worse, wasn't meant to die. I ran. I hit the basement stairs so fast I slipped twice and almost cracked my skull. I slammed the basement door and locked it. My own breathing sounded like someone else's. Ray's truth. Ray came back around 4:30 a.m. His eyes were sunken, his face pale. He saw the basement key on the table. You went down there. It wasn't a question. I didn't open anything, I said. He rubbed his forehead. Tell me exactly what you heard. Breathing, I whispered. He closed his eyes. Damn it. Then he sat down across from me and finally told me the one thing he never wanted to say. That third casket wasn't delivered to us, it was left. Left? He nodded. 15 years ago. Driver dropped it off by mistake. No paperwork, no return address, no name. My father, your granddad, told us not to send it back. Why? Ray's jaw clenched. Because he thought it wasn't a person inside. My stomach turned. Then what the hell was it? I don't know. He didn't know. He just called it the listener. Said it waits for attention. Once someone acknowledges it, it follows. And the breathing? It doesn't breathe, Ray said. It copies what you listen for. That sentence crawled through me like ice water. He added, you should go home, Eli. You shouldn't stay here another night. But I stayed, because I didn't want to leave him alone. Because I thought maybe this was all some weird old man paranoia. Because I didn't yet understand that listening is the same as inviting. What followed me? The next nights got worse. Sometimes I heard faint tapping from the vents. Sometimes footsteps in the hallway when I knew Ray was asleep. Sometimes breathing under my bed at the exact same rhythm as mine. One night, as I lay awake staring at the ceiling, a whisper drifted through the dark. So close it felt like lips against my ear. Eli, I bolted upright. Ray, I shouted. No answer, just that cold, thick silence again. I pressed my palms to my ears and whispered, I don't hear you. I'm not listening. I'm not. But my heartbeat was so loud it felt like it was trying to speak too. The night Ray died. 2 months later, Ray didn't come downstairs one morning. I knocked twice before entering his room like he taught me. He was lying on the bed, eyes open, mouth slightly parted. He looked peaceful. Too peaceful. Like someone had pressed pause on him. There was no struggle, no sign of anything wrong. Except the air in the room was freezing. And on the window glass in fog, someone had drawn 3 lines with a finger, 3 taps. I left Hartwell that afternoon. I didn't pack much, didn't say goodbye to anyone. I just drove, across states, across time zones, across everything that felt familiar. But things like that don't stay buried in a place. They bury themselves in you. Back in Chicago, where I tried to start fresh, letters showed up. Blank envelopes, no stamps. Once there was a photo, a casket half buried in snow, with a dent across the lid. Sometimes at night I'd hear it. Tap, tap, tap. Always 3. Never more, never less. And sometimes when everything was perfectly quiet, I'd hear breathing that wasn't my own, or a whisper soft enough to pretend I imagined it. Still listening. The return. 3 years later, I returned to Hartwell for Ray's funeral. The mortuary was closed, windows boarded up, grass tall and brown. But the back door? Ajar, like it was waiting. I stepped inside, my heart pounding against my ribs like it wanted out. The air smelled colder than any winter I'd lived through. The basement door was wide open. I forced myself down the stairs. Vault C was empty. The chains on the floor were snapped clean through, rust flakes scattered like old blood, and on the concrete, smeared in something dark and wet, was a single message. Chai, Eli. A piece of paper lay beside it. My name on the front. I didn't open it. I burned it in the sink using Ray's old lighter. When the flame touched the paper, I heard soft breath behind me. Warm, human, close. And then a whisper. I never needed the casket. I ran. Didn't look back. Didn't close the door. Didn't stop driving until sunlight broke the horizon. But sunlight doesn't kill what isn't alive. Even now, as I write this, in a motel far away from Hartwell, I hear it. Behind the bathroom door, behind the closet, behind my heartbeat. 3 knocks. Slow. Patient. Tap. 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 It doesn't want out. It just wants me to keep listening. And I do. Because it learned my name, and I made the mistake of learning its breathing. I never thought a job could change the way a man breathes. But after what I lived through in Ridgewater Basin, even the air doesn't feel innocent anymore. My name's Harlan Creed, and for 18 years I worked as a burial technician. Folks back home just call it grave work. Ridgewater Basin, Nevada wasn't on any map most tourists used. You only ended up there if you were lost, or running from something. I wasn't running. I was just trying to survive. The place was all dust, rusted windmills, and folks who spoke with that dry western drawl. Mornin', Harlan. Hot one today, huh? Stay hydrated, bud. The kind of town where everybody knew everybody and everyone pretended they didn't see each other's secrets. Backstory, to hook the audience deeper. I grew up in Ridgewater. My father had been the caretaker of the old St. Vale Cemetery, and when he died, the county handed me his keys like it was some goddamn family heirloom. Funny thing is, I never wanted the job. I'd planned to leave Nevada, maybe go north, Montana, Oregon, anywhere with trees. But my sister got sick. Medical bills stacked up, and the job's steady pay kept us going. For years, I dug graves, maintained headstones, and sat through funerals where grief hung thicker than the desert heat. Some days I felt more like a therapist than a caretaker. People mourning, people talking to the dirt, people confessing things they should have kept buried. But nothing prepared me for what happened the summer of 2016. It started with a call from Ridgewater County Services. The setup, the day everything shifted. Harlan, we got an unclaimed body for burial. Name unknown. Age approximated mid-60s. County wants a quiet interment. Quiet interment. Those 2 words always made my stomach twist. It meant someone lived and died without a soul to claim them. No ceremony, no music, no flowers, just dirt and silence. The body was scheduled to arrive at 4 p.m., but I started digging early, around 9 in the morning. August sun wasn't forgiving even then. Heat shimmered off the ground like the earth itself was breathing. Sweat soaked through my shirt before the first foot of dirt came out. I worked alone, like always. Birds didn't sing out there. Even the wind stayed quiet. Just me, the shovel, and the desert. By noon, I'd dug 5 feet. The dirt was strange that day, looser near the top, then suddenly compacted like concrete the deeper I went. My arms ached. the kind of deep bone vibration ache that tells you you're pushing more than you should. I paused, sitting on the dirt ledge, drinking from my canteen. That's when I heard someone behind me. A voice, soft, coyote scratch, raspy. "Digging the wrong spot, son." I spun around so fast I nearly slipped back into the pit. An old man stood 15 feet away, lean, sunburned, wearing a tattered denim jacket despite the heat. Beard gone gray, eyes hidden under a dusty ball cap. Never seen him before. "Sorry," I called out. "Cemetery's closed today, county burial. You can visit tomorrow." He didn't move, didn't blink. He just lifted a bony finger and pointed at the hole I'd been digging. "Ground's wrong right there." "What's that supposed to mean?" I asked. His lips cracked into a strange half-smile. "Some places ain't meant to be opened." I blinked. When I looked again, he was gone. No footsteps, no dust trail, nothing. Nevada heat plays tricks, sure, but this felt different. He'd been solid right there like a living warning. I shook it off. I had a job to finish. The discovery. Where the earth had a pulse. By 2 p.m., I hit the full 6 feet. But when I hopped down to level the walls, something felt wrong. The north wall wasn't normal dirt, it was smoother, darker. Like the soil had been packed too tight over something. I ran my glove over it. It felt warm. Not sun warm. Body warm. "Okay, that's weird," I muttered. I scraped the surface with my shovel. A shape emerged, a curve, a line, a dip. For a second, my brain didn't want to make sense of it. Then the truth snapped into focus, a cheekbone, a nose. Closed eyelids pressed into the dirt like someone had been molded beneath it. I stumbled back, heart slamming against my ribs. No, 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 this ain't real." I touched it again. The texture shifted like dry skin under my glove. Then the eyelids fluttered. I swear to God they fluttered, pushing a puff of dust outward. "Jesus!" I fell back onto my hands, scrambling toward the ladder, the face pressed forward from the dirt, like the soil itself was breathing. The lips cracked open. No sound. Just a tremor that vibrated through the grave walls, up the shovel handle, into my goddamn bones. Then the words formed, silent but clear. "Don't put anyone else down here." My breath caught in my throat. "Hello?" I said. Can you understand me?" The eyes opened. Not human eyes, not fully. They were clouded like cataracts under dust. The lips moved again, slower now. "It wakes when you dig." I didn't wait. I bolted up the ladder, nearly ripping my boots on the metal rungs. When I reached the surface, I didn't stop running until I hit the maintenance shed. The county burial. At 4:17 p.m., the county van pulled up. 2 deputies stepped out. Sheriff's Deputy Brooks spit tobacco into the dirt and said, "Harlan, you look like shit. Heat get to you?" I forced a shaky laugh. "Yeah, heat." He slapped my shoulder. "Ain't no shame. Desert'll cook the brains right out of you if you let it." I wanted to tell him. Tell someone. But every time I tried to form words, fear choked me. The coffin was light. Unclaimed bodies always were. No valuables. No clothes except the basics. No weight of memory. We carried it to the grave. Deputy Brooks frowned. "Grounds shifted. Wasn't like this last month." I swallowed. Hard. "Yeah. Settles weird out here." We lowered the coffin, then I felt it. A faint rumble beneath my boots, like something moved deeper, rearranging itself. Deputy Brooks looked around. "You feel that?" Before I could answer, I saw it. Behind him, in the grave wall. The outline of that face was back, pale under the dirt, mouth stretched open like it was screaming. Then it vanished again. The night everything broke open. I went home, locked my door, shut every curtain, and still couldn't breathe right. At 3 a.m., something woke me. A knock. Slow, steady, wrong. I pulled myself from bed, grabbed the baseball bat I kept by the door, and peeked out the window. No one. But dust was shifting under my porch light, like someone had been standing there seconds before. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Static. Then a whisper, dry, broken. "You put her on top of me." I dropped the phone. The return to the grave by sunrise, I'd made a decision. I needed to go back, to see if the grave had settled, to see if I'd just imagined it all. When I reached St. Vale Cemetery, the desert was unnervingly still. But the grave, it wasn't still. The headstone had shifted forward 6 inches. Dirt around it had collapsed inward like something had pulled from below. My stomach dropped. No, 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 no. I knelt and touched the soil. Warm, alive. Then a voice behind me. Told you dug the wrong place. I turned. It was the old man again. Closer, clearer, eyes like he hadn't slept in years. Who the hell are you? I demanded. He walked slowly, leaning on a cracked wooden cane. Name's Rufus Hallow. Used to be caretaker here, long before your daddy. My breath stalled. What do you want from me? He sighed. Not me, son. It's the ground. This place, it don't forget, and it don't forgive when you dig too deep. My mouth went dry. What's under there, Rufus? He looked at the grave, jaw tightening. Something the county never had the guts to acknowledge. Something older than Ridgewater, older than all of us. He leaned in. This land ain't soil, boy. It's memory. The final night. When the earth opened its eyes. That night I stayed in the cemetery shack. I had to understand, had to see. Around 11:42 p.m. the ground began to tremble. Not like an earthquake, more like breathing, slow, steady, rhythmic. I walked to the gravesite. The dirt mounded upward, lifting, bulging, stretching like skin. A shape rose beneath it, a face, not the one I saw before. This one was older, bigger, pressed from deep below. The mouth opened and a crack split the soil. A whisper crawled out. More weight, more memory, more souls. I stumbled back, yelling, "What do you want from me?" The ground pulsed. Stop feeding us. The soil collapsed. The grave widened, a dark maw opening like a throat. Inside, not skeletons, not bodies, just faces, hundreds, maybe thousands, all pressed into the walls of the earth, all staring upward. One face near the top looked fresh, the unclaimed woman. Her lips moved. Please, don't let it take another. My legs gave out. I fell to my knees. Rufus appeared behind me, voice trembling. You keep burying folks here, son. It keeps waking up, feeds on whatever you give it. Tears burned my eyes. What do I do? He pointed toward the tool shed, soft breath behind me. Warm, human, close. And then a whisper. I never needed the casket. I ran, didn't look back, didn't close the door, didn't stop driving until sunlight broke the horizon. But sunlight doesn't kill what isn't alive. Even now, as I write this, in a motel far away from Hartwell, I hear it. Behind the bathroom door, behind the closet, behind my heartbeat. 3 knocks. Slow. Patient. Tap. 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 It doesn't want out. It just wants me to keep listening. And I do. Because it learned my name, and I made the mistake of learning its breathing.